Hi guys, it's Simply, and since UGC is now public, why not make a Beanie tutorial? So this is fairly simple. I have my hotkeys down here. Please make sure you are familiar with at least some hotkeys because this can be hard to people who are fully new. We are going to start off by doing Shift A. Under mesh, add in a circle, and your item is going to go wherever your cursor is. So my cursor was over here, so my circle is going to end up being here. So you don't want to click on your screen. You're actually going to want to go to the bottom left here and change this to about 14 or 16. It's up to you. I'm actually going to go into top mode, so I'm going to do the accent on the top left of your keyboard and then top, and then you can see what the verts are going to look like. So the lower the number, the more low poly, and the higher the number is the more high res. Just be careful, you don't want to generally go over 20. We're going to be doing 16 for the case of this video. We are going to go into front view, so the accent below your escape key, and then front view. We're going to be going into edit mode, so tab on your keyboard, and it should look like this. If you don't see the little dots, press 1 on your keyboard. This is called vertex select mode. So you're now going to press A on your keyboard to select everything, and you're going to extrude this on the Z axis. So E on your keyboard, then Z, and drag this up. So click to make sure that you set your edge loop down and make sure it's not going anywhere. We are now going to scale this out a little bit. So S on your keyboard and drag it out. And then we are going to extrude this, E, Z. I'm going to do this one more time, E, Z. And this time I am going to be scaling it in. So S on your keyboard, and we are going to bring this in. Now I am going to select the bottom edge loop here. So Alt and right or left click on your keyboard and click between these vertices. You should have the whole edge loop selected. I'm going to press F on my keyboard. You don't see that it did anything, but it actually added in a face below here. Next, I am going to be adding in a bevel, so that hotkey is Control B. So this is what your beanie should look like, or something around here. Next, we are going to select this edge loop up here. So Alt, right or left click, and then we are going to continue extruding this. So I'm going to do E and then Z, and I'm going to scale this in a little bit using S, and I'm just going to continue extruding and scaling in. This is what your beanie should sort of look like. You can see that the edges are very rough, so I am going to press space on your keyboard and go to auto smooth, or you can go to object and there's shade smooth, auto smooth, and shade flat. So now that we have this, the top is kind of flat, so I'm going to extrude this again and scale it in. You can see that your hat has a hole here, so make sure this is selected here. It is orange, so that means it is selected, and you're going to press F. I also recommend having a mannequin and hair, so you know how big your beanie should be relatively to the Roblox character and hair. Next, I like to shape the inside of the beanie to give it more dimension, so I'm going to press 3 on my keyboard, which will bring up face select mode. You can see the difference here. So once this is selected, we press E on our keyboard and Z, and you scale it up. And I'm going to press S on my keyboard and scale this in. And I'm going to do this once more. And this is what it should look like. Next, I'm going to show you guys how I usually UV unwrap this. I'm going to go to UV editing here. While I have face select mode 3 on your keyboard, I'm going to select these, select the face, and then hold shift and right or left click so we can select multiple faces. Once we do that, you press U on your keyboard and we click Unwrap. Once we have that, you should look on the left side of your screen and you should have something that looks similar to this. So now I'm going to drag my cursor, right or left click, drag it, select this side of the vertices, press W on my keyboard and align auto. And do the same for the left side. And align auto. This will make sure our edges are very straight and will give us more space in our UV map. So once we have this, I'm actually going to go up here and click this little arrow button. This will show our UVs. If this is unclicked, then you won't see them. Now I'm going to drag and select this. You can see that this portion of the beanie is UV unwrapped. We are now going to be doing something called follow active quads, which is something I do to help save texture space. So Alt, right or left click on the line, and it should select this whole outer edge. And while this face here is selected, press U and follow active quads, and then I do even. And then I press OK. I messed up. I selected the wrong face. So if you have the wrong face selected, you will see this. Your face will disappear. So we don't want that. So this is the face that I want to select. You follow active quads and even. So it should now look like this. It looks a little goofy, but it will be so worth it. So follow the same steps. Alt, right or left click, select your face you unwrapped. You follow active quads. And do the same for below. And you will end up with something like this. I'm going to seclude this section of the UV. So right click on any face, it doesn't really matter. Control L, it should select this whole section here. Once you do that, you do Shift H. That will hide all the other UVs and make sure you're not messing up any of your unwrapped parts. Next, I'm going to go up here, turn on the snap tool, and then click this down arrow and turn vertex. Now you are just going to select little portions of the UVs. Click G, select, click G, select, and so on and so forth. You are just going to be overlaying these UVs here until you get one section. So now that you have that, you have all of these UVs are overlaid, and you will only have to draw your texture once and it will overlap onto all these UVs. So now that we have this portion selected and unwrapped, I'm going to hide it so we can focus on the other parts of the beanie. So H, and that was gone. So now this is pretty easy. We could just select a face here, Control L, and then UV unwrap, and that will be unwrapped for you. And we're just going to press G and move that up here, and we are going to hide this. Next, I'm going to be marking seams. So my general rule is marking seams in the center of a hat. So a seam would be either marked here, or a seam will either be marked here. So I'm going to Alt, right or left click on the center edge loop, Alt, Shift, I'm going to do right click, and now I'm going to be pressing Control E, and we are going to press Mark Seam. To know that your seams are marked, you should see a red line. You can see that the red line does not follow through that circle, but that is no issue. So we are going to press A on our keyboard, U, and then unwrap. This is what it should look like. It kind of looks like a butterfly, but we are going to fix this and make these UVs nice and square. So I'm going to press 3 on my keyboard and select this circle, or you can select it on the model. It doesn't really matter. And we are going to drag this up using G. I'm going to scale it up a little bit, and we're going to hide that because we want square UVs, and you can't get a square with a circle in the center. So now I'm going to press A again, U on your keyboard, and unwrap. It should look like this now. So next thing I am going to do is select one of the faces over here, Control L, and then Shift H to seclude this section of the UV. Next, I'm going to press 1 on my keyboard to switch to vertex select mode. Alt, right or left click, select this one edge loop here. W, auto align. Alt, right or left click, W, auto align. And you're going to do that all the way down. It should look like this, and now we're going to be doing it down vertically. So Alt, right or left click, auto align. Sometimes it will look like this. It will turn out a little funky. So Control Z, W, and then you auto align on the X or Y axis. So Alt, W, align Y. And we're going to be doing that all the way down again. And you should end up with square UVs. Now you're probably wondering, how do I get back the other parts of my beanie? So we are going to do Alt H, and this will bring back all of your UVs and the rest of your model. So we are going to have to do the same thing for this portion. Click on the object, Control L, Shift H, and we will press 1 on your keyboard, and we will continue the same process. See, it goes a little bit weird here. So W, auto align Y. I meant X, not Y, but same thing. And now we press Alt H, bring back everything. And now you're going to set up your UVs. So R, Y. And I'm just going to make sure that this portion of the beanie has the biggest section. And I'm just going to quickly show you guys how it looks when you do the follow active quads. So this is what follow active quads does and how you can texture everything very easily. Align here, align here. There we go, a simple beanie, and your texture will go around the whole model, which is great. If you guys have any issues, let me know down in the comments, and if you have any tutorial suggestions, please let me know as well. And good luck on your UGC journey.